but it's also very late game oriented. Like Kindred needs plenty of items and also some of those stacks in the jungle to make things work. You have the Vigar who naturally just scales infinitely, but so does Senna. And then the Ornn has the upgraded items that grant that additional gold value to the team. Meanwhile, PCS going all in towards that early game potential with the Tristana trying to bully lanes mid, trying to bully in the top lane as well. Very, very aggressive champions locked in by Pieces of Hate. I think in that regard, it's all pretty standard. Press the attack on the Renekton versus Ornn. Now, some people would ask, isn't it better to run Conqueror? At least in this matchup, like in an isolated manner, isn't it better to run Conqueror? But if you consider the rest of his team, I don't think it'll be very easy for Renekton to proc that rune, as now we have a very early flash from Judgy Rocks. PCS catch him off guard with that invade. That would actually be a trade of summoners. Yuna decides to try and go for the stun, I imagine. I think he leveled, yeah, he leveled W. So that is some information for Sleepy Twink to note down here. Yeah, as I was saying, Yuna not necessarily champion that will get to proc Conqueror a lot this game, so PTA makes a lot more sense, I think, especially if he goes for this build where he really focuses on damage instead of tankiness. And then in short trades versus Ornn, it could also prove to be effective. It's curious that Yuna actually decided to leash for his jungler when he's the one that really wants to be on the offensive in this matchup. I wonder how much aggression we'll see from this PCS bot lane. They have a lot of CC between the Nico and the Galio, so they can lock down one target for an extended amount of time. And Bedamu's looking to do some damage, potentially in the bot lane, but the way the lanes are set up right now, it doesn't feel like an ACL are a very easy target to gank, at least in the bot lane. Not a lot of stuff going on. Bedamu finishes his Red Raptor's Gromp clear, but he doesn't really find anything the way the lane was set up in the bot lane, as I was saying. There wasn't an easy target in the bot lane. And also mid lane, the lane is more or less even. Oh, Sleepy Twink decides to go for an extended trade. Not a bad trade, all things considered, but Renekton doesn't mind these trades where he goes even because he can heal a lot of that damage up afterwards. Well, we're not going to see Arins get surprised by Momo Deviluk in that brush. It's a 2v2 situation. Top mid versus jungle mid. Yuna goes for the engage, but is quickly exhausted by Shield Twink. But now we see the Frostmoth roam from bot lane, coming in from downtown, completely ditches bot lane and gets that first kill. So NACL, they go for this game, they go for this play in the early game, really contesting this Scuttle Crab at all costs, and they pay the price. I don't think that is the approach if you can't guarantee priority in both of your lanes, it's not going to go well for you. That is exactly what happened in this situation. NACL... Yeah, this situation blows up in their face a little bit. This does hurt Kindred especially. Any time that's not spent farming or getting those marks of the hunters is time spent wasted. And also a very important kill for Arins in the mid lane, getting that snowball going. As I was saying, the early game is a lot easier to execute for Pieces of Hate because they have the tools to fight. If there is ever a standoff just like this in the river, they can definitely outmuscle their opponents. Already 1,000 gold ahead here. UNL will look to keep this freeze in the top lane, so that is going to be a problem for this Ornn. Not sure if he's able to break that freeze any point without his jungler, but now Arins with the rocket jump straight onto Shield Twink's face. Shield Twink already without the exhaust, so any kind of engage will just go Arins' way without that summoner spell. But now Momo Deviluke, full readiness to try and interrupt any kind of engage, but now Arins will probably just leave the situation as is, shove the wave in, and then get a base. Now Momo Deviluke finally shows his face outside Fog of War as Pieces of Hate get the first objective of the game in the Chemtag Drake. Oh, and Arins sniffs out the invade from Momo Deviluke. He knows exactly what was about to happen, and the burst! Level 6 versus level 5. There was no contest there. Momo Deviluke going for an invade that was quickly sussed out by the Pieces of Hate mid laner. So, a lot of risky moves being taken by NACL, and so far none of them have really paid off. And Benemu doesn't really have to do all that much, while the enemy jungler is just taking some L's in this early game. You know, building up that Fury, he's going to go for the Empowered W as always. That's the spell you use when you want to maximize that damage, and the Ornn, he does have plated steel caps already, but he's still feeling some of that hurt. Now Cargilly taking some hurt on the other side of the map, and is going to force that recall. Now the positives for NACL are that this bot lane is so far doing alright, which is more than enough. Just have to make sure that Vargar gets the appropriate amount of XP and also the appropriate amount of the passive stacks. Phenomenal Evil, that's the official name, I think. Now Rocket Jump once again from Arins, with a Mantra W answer from Shield Twink. It actually turns out to be a pretty even trade by the looks of things. Arins does have that Hail of Blades, but it's not as much damage compared to what Press the Attack would grant you, or even Lethal Tempo, so that trade went quite okay for Shield Twink. Now he's gonna get this wave pushed in, get the recall. I wonder if we're going to see some armor perhaps early on. I mean, when you're a Karma in such a position, I feel like you can... there's a lot of freedom for you when it comes to itemization. So even going for something a little bit more tanky is more than enough, but we're going to see the Lost Chapter first. As once again, Yuna has the lane right where he wants it. Twink once again, Sleepy Twink once again in a pretty tough spot as we see Arin's roaming from mid to top right now. I'm not sure. No, I don't think there was any vision going around, so Sleepy Twink is going to get surprised and he actually uses his dash in the wrong direction. Oh, or was it the Buster Shot that actually knocked him back? I'm not sure. Might have been the Buster Shot, just well placed by Arin's, but either way, Sleepy Twink is another casualty for Homo Salis, and PCS just continues to do well in this early game. Yeah, it was a little bit confusing, but yeah, Buster Shot was used, so I just have to imagine it was the Tristana that made it happen. Now Momo Deviluke forced to use Lamb's Respite defensively, but all that shielding coming in from the Karma means that Momo Deviluke can keep the fight going, but is it too much? It is, in fact, too much. Momo Deviluke really wanted to get that kill, but that's just going to be very big consequences right now for Homo Salis as they lose another kill and also the Rift Herald on top of that. While also using a pretty big cooldown from the Kindred that will not be available in this upcoming dragon fight. So Homo Salis are just quickly hemorrhaging everywhere on the map as now Frostmoth with a Pop Blossom shield, he's going to just stay alive long enough to survive. And it forces out 2 summoner spells from Homo Salis. Now another play from PCS, but Twink was cognizant of the situation, but regardless, we're going to see these plates be destroyed in the mid lane. Oh, and Bedamu is going to run right into Momo Deviluke without his EQ. He's a little bit less mobile, so he's just going to get dropped. Bedamu going for that invade, not really knowing where the enemy jungler was, clearly. As, yeah, Momo Deviluke gets to catch him with his pants down there. And that is the first positive sign for Homo Salis, is now this dragon gets started up. The jungler is still dead. Can Homo Salis realistically get this objective before PCS can actually react? There's a good job there from Shield Twink, making sure that Renz is low enough, can't really help with this dragon at all. So, stemming the bleeding a little bit, there we go. NACL, it was a mistake from PCS, but they take advantage of it. Oh, but now Shield Twink really wanted that damage onto a Renz with a Mantra Inner Flame, but now without his summoner spell, just completely routed by 3 members of PCS and Tristana with 4 kills already in the mid lane. NACL have drafted a scaling composition, but they are just losing members. They're losing a lot of members, and they're losing them way too fast. The game is just falling out of favor for them right now. As Yuna has finished his Blade of a Ruin King top lane as well, it's a lot of damage that Ornn has to take just from those short trades. This Blade of a Ruin King could be followed by something like a Black Cleaver to make sure that that damage sticks against that against this whole suit of armor that Ornn has right now. Yeah, Homo Salis, they just have to put the foot down on the brakes. Right now they're 3,000 gold 3,000 gold down compared to their opponents. They did get that second dragon, which is a pretty big deal. That does buy them time, but now, like, need to see some more cautious, patient decision making, considering where you are at right now. The state of the game doesn't really do you any favors. So this next objective that's coming up, maybe you should make plans ahead of time and just try to make a cross-map play while PCS will inevitably go for that objective, because they want to be dragon stacking. They do not want this game to go 40 minutes or 45 minutes. They want to end it before 30, ideally. PCS doing a bit of converging right now around the mid lane, as they will make sure that Arens gets this first tower of the game. Momo Devluke was not there to prevent that. Instead, he's protecting bot lane a little bit. Right now, it's still Arens with a very big lead, and it looks like the next item he builds, I mean, it could be Infinity Edge, but it also could be Bloodthirster. There's like several options. As we're going to see a big fight in the bot lane. Momo Devluke is going to go on to Arens, but he jumps away. Now PCS disengaging. They go for the fight, but they do not quite find the targets they were looking for, so they just decide that they do not want to prolong the situation. There's still a minute until the dragon. You don't want to burn all of your cooldowns before that objective is up. Now, we will see Cargilly actually going in. It's a 2v3 situation in the bot lane. Yuna actually taking this tower top lane by force, and Sleepy Twink does not have the damage to contend with all that. It's an orange flash that's burnt before this dragon spawns, but no Call of the Forge got used. Now Yuna continues this pressure. He wants to go further, but now, has he made a step too far? He has the flash to flash away from the ultimate, but he's just going to fall to Momo Devluke, and that is a pretty important pick before the start of his next objective. We'll see what NACL can do about all this. Oh, but now Shield Twink trying to catch that wave in the mid lane, but he's far out of position. Rin has a lot of damage. Did not use the Gale Force just yet. Still keeps it going, but now the re-engage from NACL. Betamu's stop by Event Horizon. Cargilly doing some defensive work, but now he's body blocked by members of NACL. And now they're playing it slow, trying to eliminate some targets front to back. Judgy Rocks doing some more damage on the backside of this fight. And it's one additional pick for NACL as this dragon is about to spawn. And very important cooldowns burned for PCS. I'm not sure they can actually contend this. They will decide it's not worth the effort, and NACL get the second dragon for themselves. It is going to be Infernal Soul. For a team like them, it would be a very big bonus, that Infernal Soul. I mean, just getting this dragon on its own feels like such a big success for this team. It really felt like PCS had the situation under control, but then one pick happened, followed by another pick. And that gave NACL enough tempo to actually secure another neutral objective, with still a 3,000 gold lead for PCS. But NACL, we're trying to right the ship. Ren is once again brought down by all the bursts from the Karma. Shield Twink going for this max pen build with Luden's Tempest and Sorcerer's Shoes. So there's a lot of damage coming in from both Vygar and the Karma. Even though Karma provides the utility, she also has the damage to boot. Now, what's the next course of action for NACL? Looks like they are all rotating towards bot side as Vygar is getting some damage down on the turret. Won't be able to push it down just yet, but now NACL, they have to be careful. There's still a lot of engaged tools here for PCS, and as soon as Jarvan gets in position, yeah, the Veigar is always going to be under threat. But it's more than just Jarvan, it's also Vigalio. The Jarvan plus Vigalio combination can be deadly, but now the Pop Blossom from PCS, followed by the initiation from Urins, but the Lamb's Respite doing a lot of work to negate some of that damage, but now Yuna with the TP. He's so strong with almost 2 items completed, and the raw aggression and the items that Pieces of Hate have tip the scales in the end. The Lamb's Respite was not enough. This is what I was talking about. Even though the engage was thwarted by NACL a little bit, it was still that gold lead that, at the end of the day, made sure that the PCS actually were the winners of that fight. The additional gold that Tristana got from all those kills earlier, for Jarvan being in a good spot as well. Renekton having the gold lead versus the Ornn, it is all cumulative. Oh, but now a big snipe from Karma onto the Renekton. We just see that happening outside of our field of vision? Can we go back? I want to see what happened. Oh. The white... Hold on. Yeah, I'm not sure why what happened with the camera work, but yeah, we move forward, it's okay. We're gonna speed things up a little bit. As now we see NACL doing some vision clearing as the Baron has now spawned. This will be a point of contention once again for both teams, but it is PCS that have all the go buttons. Will always be NACL trying to disengage when PCS engage onto them. But the problem that arises here for them is when they don't have the vision, it's so much harder to execute that game plan. Like, individual members can just get picked off really easily. And then PCS can also just hide in brushes of death as 5 and just get that engage when NACL least expects it, and then all of that burst is not negated, then PCS just gets an easy win in the team fight. So for NACL, having at least a semblance of vision is very important. They can see what's going on. Momo Deviluke jumping forward, completely unafraid of what PCS has to offer, but it's still Yuna on the flank. Keep your eyes on the Crocodile as he wants to go in, but now he's spotted out by all the vision on the side of NACL. Call of the Forge God comes in. It's NACL that actually engaged first. They did not give a kill onto Cargilly. Now the engage from Yuna on the Renekton, but Lamb's Respite negates that damage, and now PCS are running away from the fight, but now Frostmoth with the counter engage. They go back in. The first kill is onto Nico, however. Arin's now trying to get the resets. He gets one. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Judgy Rocks actually gets him back. It's a 2v2 right now. It's really chaotic, but Yuna, at the end of the day, his damage is superior. Holy smokes, the damage from the Bruisers at the end turned it around for PCS. You can see these fights are at a knife's edge, and what is the difference maker is the goal lead that PCS have built. Like, you have to wonder if NACL played a bit better early game, maybe we'd be seeing a different situation inside of his game, but right now it's PCS that win the fight and they get the objective. But now Yuna catches Shield Twin completely off guard, and the Ruthless Predator destroys that shield. The changes that were introduced to Renekton a long time ago at this point. coming to fruition right now. The shield breaker, plus all the lethality that he has, and repress the attack, it all adds up. So Pieces of Hate. He generated a bigger gold lead now. They finished these important power spikes all across the board. They have the Infinity Edge for Tristana. They have a Prowler's Claw. Vedamu sitting at 2 items as well. Has Gore Drinker plus the Guardian Angel that was already used up actually. But now Sleepy Twink. He's far away from his team, and he has 3 members of PCS wailing down on him right now. He uses the ultimate, but he doesn't even get to bonk the ram into the enemy team. He just loses his life. And that is a very crucial pick for PCS, as now they have more leverage at this Baron Pit. They could just start it. Try and force NACL more into this dangerous situation, but they find the pick on Momo Deviluk. The Prowler's Claw. The target axis from this Renekton, when he's built like this, the Bork plus Prowler's Claw, the burst is absolutely insane. This lethality build seems to be a lot more effective than what we usually see in, you know, in pro leagues all across the globe, but we're not going to talk about that right now, because I'm going to get a little bit mad about pro players and itemization, but all we're going to say is Yuna's doing a good job, and he's building well. Very good. Renekton has definitely made sure his blade is sharp. That's all I'm going to say. As now PCS have this Baron buff on lock. We didn't actually back just yet. They're looking for some more picks inside of NACL's jungle. Now we're going to take the bases. Now one tower that immediately comes to mind for PCS is definitely the bot lane tower. They could just go for a 4-1 setup, have 4 people pushing down mid and 1 person bottom and just get that destroyed, or they could do it the other way around and make sure that tower is destroyed with no issues and then move on to mid. But now Momo Deviluk going for another play. But PCS are pinged away. They will not go for more than that. PCS actually go for a 3-lane push. Trying to utilize all 3 lanes here. Vedamu on the top side of the map covering his mid laner as he's pushing those additional waves in. It is a bit of a struggle to coordinate 3 minion waves all at the same time, but right now PCS, well, this mid lane still needs some time to develop. Yeah, it's not going as fast as PCS would like, I suppose, but they will still get that mid lane tier 2. As now Yuna goes for the engage. Prowler's Claw onto the Ornn, however, it's not onto the Senna, so not quite what he wanted in this case. And Yuna actually outranged by the Senna, has to walk away from this spot. Yuna slices and dices out of danger. PCS are still getting towers across the board though. That mid lane tier 2 has fallen. And now Lamb's Respite for Momo Deviluk. Can he get away from this spot? No, he can't. Arins is simply way too powerful. They will get the inhibitor turret in the top lane as well, so it's not a bad haul for PCS, all things considered. As Frozmoth TP's top lane as the rest of his team go back to base. But you know what? All things considered, it was still a good sequence from PCS, and they will get an extra turret by the looks of things as these Baron minions continue to be empowered as Hargilly takes the recall. The gold lead has grown to 10,000. It's at this point, it's not a mystery who has the lead in this game. PCS just are winning these teamfights even harder now. Make good use of the Baron. Now it's all about closing it out. Potentially with the second Baron once it spawns. Or maybe even before that if NACL slips up. Once again, we have the 3-lane setup from PCS, even after the Baron has expired. It all feels a little bit slow, as Momo Deviluk will get caught out by Bedamu and Arins. No ultimate available yet. And it's going to be another kill for the mid laner of Pieces of Hate. Momo Deviluk has not had a good game at the start of this series, and it all started with that first Skull Crab contest, and it all just became worse and worse as the game went on. It really felt like NACL has not adopted the right mentality to make sure that you don't fall too far behind versus a composition like this. Because if you do, even with all this scaling, it will still not be enough to destabilize. Now Yuna has 3 items completed compared to Sleepy Twinks 2. So it's not a very balanced fight in the side lane. As Arins is actually rotating from bot to mid, maybe looking for an extra fight. Still keeping the pressure going in all 3 lanes. It actually feels like a decent alternative when you consider how powerful NACL can be when they're all grouped up. But now Arins will go on to Momo Deviluk. Bedamu tries to get away. He actually does get away. A flash burst out of Arins, however, and NACL wants to keep going. Nice knock up onto Kargili. But how much can they realistically get done with this? The answer is not a lot. No kills scored by NACL. They will defend the inhibitor on the other side of the map, but this pressure is starting to mount as the Baron is about to spawn. And PCS have push pretty much everywhere, which does allow much better access for this Baron. Oh, Yuna is looking, and NACL, I don't think they were aware. But yeah, regardless, Yuna decided not to go for it. Would have been an impulsive play. Now Arins goes for that additional pick onto Momo Deviluk, and wow. That is a dead lamb and a dead wolf. And it didn't last longer than 2 seconds. As PCS could basically do this Baron at any pace they wanted. They have plenty of time. The jungler is dead for another 20 seconds. NACL will have no way to contest. Even if they did, they would risk the game ending right then and there, so they just have to commit to defending the base for now. But the more situations you have just like this, the harder it's going to get to defend. Now, obviously, NACL does have good defense across the board. You have the disengage tools, you have the range compared to your opponents, but when PCS is ahead just like this, it really feels like they can just push all their buttons at the right time, and they probably win the fight anyway. So for NACL, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take like an initial pick from some of their members to try and make the situation more favorable for themselves. Good flash from MDiv right here, and it's going to be a shutdown from Vigar onto Tristana. This is exactly what I was talking about. Good start from NACL. Another kill onto the Renekton. Galio's going to fall next, and it's 3 straight kills for NACL as now Judgy Rocks. Oh! The amount of shields was ridiculous. Now Frostmoth goes in for the counter engage, but Lamb's Respite makes sure that he gets absolutely nothing from it. And NACL gets the picks. They get the picks right when they needed them at Soul Point. And we're going to Dragon number 7. NACL keeps the game alive somehow. What a flash and cage that was from MDib, honestly. That was, like, mechanically very well played, but you have to say, what was PCS thinking in this spot when they have the game under control? This is completely unnecessary. Now maybe... I mean, I don't know if uncertainty is setting in for PCS, but... the first defense for NACL is successful. And now without this Baron buff, it's going to be harder for NACL to... for PCS to push on. For 35 minutes in, NACL... they may have been behind. Well, they still are, but those items are starting to come in for the carries of NACL. Vigar is certainly not poor, and neither is Karma. And perhaps that's all NACL need right now, as Betamu buffers his Demacian standard very nicely, gets away. PCS still want that inhibitor, but right now it's... yeah. It's a little bit fruitless, this push from PCS. A lot of downtime between this push and the next objective. So NACL can actually breathe easy for a while now. Just make sure they land the gold on the important members of their team. As the Rins, once again going in, they will just force this bottom inhibitor. They want to make sure that this game ends soon, and it feels like NACL actually has to make a move before all of their inhibitors go down. But it's PCS that will want to force the issue, potentially. In the next 10, maybe 20 seconds, they are looking to start something. But for now, Tristana actually playing it safe. They get the second inhibitor as well. Or will they? Still staying alive. Meanwhile, Yuna is actually hacking at the top lane inhibitor. They get that one. They will get the third as well. Betamu now goes for the engage. Arens with some more damage on top of that. It's a very good engage from PCS. This should be it. They finally get the fight that they were looking for. The disengage was not quite there from NACL because they used Lamb's Respite quite early into the sequence. And PCS now pushing down the turrets. Can NACL stop this onslaught? They get one kill, they get another one. They may be able to withstand this. Ren's putting down the damage, but he's very low. I don't think he can keep this going. He goes for the jump. He gets another kill, but he's going to fall. NACL, their Nexus is still alive. But how much longer is this going to last? Okay, let's do a little stack check while players are players are dead, that is. We're going to have Vigar coming out of base. He's at 309 stacks, has Rabadons, so with all that combined, he's sitting at over 1,000 AP. He's an absolute monster. But the base of NACL is in tatters. I don't think they can even realistically compete for that Dragon Soul. They are stuck inside of their own base versus the 3 waves of supers. Senna is sitting at 170 of 160 bonus range, 80% crit chance. That is a lot. The champions on NACL are definitely scaling, but I fear that we've reached a breaking point. As NACL are approaching the fight now, but Yuna is caged up actually. He's going to lose his life. No, presses stopwatch just at the right time. Great engage from Frostmoth, and they get the kills they wanted. Kindred falls, Senna fall. NACL will all fall eventually. Oh, Rins did not press rocket jump the way he wanted, but it doesn't matter. Not one bit. It's 4 members against 3 in the enemy base. Bedamu's trying to stop those backs as well, so it's actually Karma still trying to go back. Rins, he really wants to hit the Nexus right now, and he will do so. PCS eventually will take down the Nexus after 40 minutes of gameplay. They had the lead this whole time, but NACL was proving to be quite annoying with all that scaling and all that disengage. Perhaps with a better early game from NACL, we would have seen a different outcome, but I mean, it had to be the conclusion after that game. They felt like they didn't have enough engage to force fights on their terms. Not sure if that was necessarily the problem. Okay, both teams have already chosen where they want to go. PCS will look for... first, okay, they're still looking for a defensive formation inside of his brush. And NACL also just waiting for PCS to arrive, but I feel like both teams will be disappointed. Both teams choosing a defensive approach, and that means nothing will happen instead of, you know... We're basically getting the same result, just as if both teams actually chose to execute a 5-point formation.
Minions have spawned.
Now, where are the junglers starting? That is the question. Sejuani looks like still gravitating towards that top side. So it's going to be a red side start. Red buff start from Sejuani, and also a red buff start for a Momo Deviluk on the other side of the map. So the junglers will not meet. I wonder what this means for bot lane. Can NACL... Well, okay, by the looks of things, they're just looking to crash a huge wave into the tower. There will be no early shenanigans being driven in the bot lane. In the meantime, Yuna gets an early pull onto Sleepy Twink. Overall, a positive trade. Good adaptation from Sleepy Twink when it comes to the rune choice. I feel like Phase Rush is quite useful, especially in this matchup. Like, you do not want to give Darius the 5 stacks of Noxian Light. You definitely want to prevent that, so even if you get pulled, there's still a chance to just disengage safely if you have the rune up. Other than that, I don't really see any surprises. Oh, and a big roam from Judgy Rocks. Wow. Very nicely done from NACL. Will burn down. Oh, Shield Twink goes for the flash, thinking that the Rings would not die from the Ignite. That means 2 summoners were blown on the side of NACL. They do get the kill onto Arens, but it does make Shield Twink that much more vulnerable. And now Bedamu trying to get this Skull Crab. He is followed by his team, however. It's a 3v3, a little bit of an awkward situation, but now Frostmoth with his Event Horizon neutralizes the situation, but Bedamu goes back in! And he just gives the kill away. This should have just been a disengage, but instead, flicking back into NACL, and they get the kill onto the Sivir. It's pretty important considering how well this champion scales. Now a bit of an unsafe position for PCS as NACL had the wave on their side and Momo Devluke was lurking, but doesn't quite get what he wanted in that situation. Eren's trying his damnedest right now to have a Shield Twink lose some minions here. I wonder if TP... Maybe TP was a better choice in this spot. Just to make sure that Caitlyn can't get those plates just from existing in the mid lane. That, as we can see, Arens is already applying some pressure. He lost some CS because of that gank, but if he gets the plates, he can definitely make up for what happened earlier. A bit less action than I was anticipating, but still, you have to commend NACL for what is happening right now. They do have the small... When I say small, it feels like a bigger gold lead now that there are sizable CS leads the bot lane, but also a CS lead mid lane. Doing a better job playing out those lanes, but also giving opportunities for the jungler and the support to make things happen. Oh, but now Shield Twink in a lot of trouble. The barrier could make him stay alive for a few seconds longer, but here comes the jungler! Can Momo Devluke get something out of his situation? Bedamu without his flash. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And now Arens with in a lot of trouble again! Here comes MDIP with the roam. And it's a 2-0 Sivir. MDIP try... Okay. Sleepy Twink gets back right under his tower, but he's... Oh, never mind. Malphite has hit level 6, and that makes Yuna second guess himself. He's not going to go for the dive. NACL, in the meantime, they will get this dragon. It's a much, much better start for NACL. Sleepy Twink somehow evades the solo kill. that was played on a knife's edge 100%. Now he gets the TP. So not a lot was lost from that play. I also like the call start from MDIP. It feels like the right thing to do. He has the cleanse, he has the call. Doesn't really have to interact with Vygar all that much. As soon as he gets to that 100 CS, he's going to have that additional power. We also see the mid lane situation stabilizing a little bit for Shield Twink, which is another positive sign for NACL. Arens no longer getting that free push. Now that Shield Twink has lost chapter, he's matching what Arens can do. And Arens also has to play a lot safer without his summoner spells. Judgy Rocks once again covering the mid laner as PCS is trying to make a play with 4 members. He's about to get surprised by multiple members of PCS. The Glacial Prison comes down, but here comes Momo Devluke with a counter gank. Completely taken by surprise, Arens falls once again. And feels like old sins of PCS are coming back to haunt them once again. Irins has already died 3 times in this game. PCS trying to help him. They will fall down as well. And NACL fight back. And so far it's a slaughter. PCS, they're just losing in every possible exchange on the map. Maybe apart from top lane. Everything is going NACL's way. They will get the additional plates. And this series is alive. A completely different look from NACL this time, but obviously the game's not over yet. And we have to see how NACL can play with a gold lead attached. We can see how much easier it is for Shield Twink to handle the Caitlyn once the Lost Chapter came in. The E1 shots the backline. Shield Twink with the flash. Really trying to threaten Irins nice and early. Oh! Not quite. Momo Deviluke did not have Cataclysm yet, but Irins is really feeling the hurt from Jarvan and the Lux. They are not letting him play League of Legends right now. And having this Caitlyn be behind like this is not good for PCS. That has to be said. If this tower falls down in the near future, that will be even worse as well. Like, they have to make sure that they keep that mid tower alive. Right now, NACL actually starting up the Rift Herald. They will meet resistance from PCS. The Rift Herald will reset. Both teams actually not calling their bot laners for this. PCS just going for this one. Irins still pushing down mid lane while NACL is initiating the fight. Irins is just going to get bursted down where he stands. Both Flash and Ghost used, but Momo Deviluke is there to hunt him down. That's a 1 kill so far for NACL, but the Light Binding catches another, and Bedamu is another victim of this skirmish. And PCS were just not ready to take that one. Caitlyn was not in position to fight. Position-wise or item-wise, the Caitlyn was just not in any position to fight for that Rift Herald. PCS took the fight regardless, and they once again lost out on the situation. And Momo Deviluke, I mean, we saw Jarvan and what he can do in the first game, but it feels like he's taken it to the next level. We know how strong this champion is in the current patch. Against a champion like Caitlyn, he can do so much damage. Oh, but now Shield Twink, without his flash, is going to fall, and that is a response from PCS finally. Irins gets his first kill, but now Cargilly in trouble. Glacial Augment slow. Make him slow as molasses. Momo Deviluke, they will try to go for the engage. The first strike finishes off Judgy Rocks. Momo Deviluke going to the ends of the earth for this one pick onto the Caitlyn. But it's just going to get flashed away from, and Irins gets the shutdown. The dragon is spawned. PCS can just walk to it, and NACL, I don't get it. I don't get it. What just happened? Let's see if MDIP can actually... Okay. I feel like that was pretty close, but yeah, Bedamu's Smite on point. But... come on, we just... that was really uncalled for if you're NACL in this position. Irins, fortunately for PCS, he does get those 2 kills, and that puts them in a much better spot. They are still behind when you look at the whole game, but it is something that they can be happy about. Bit of a misstep for NACL, but Okay, let's see what happens next. They do get down the mid lane turret, and this is what I was talking about. It's the first turret of the game as well, so... A quick rebound from NACL. This mid lane tower being down is going to do a lot of work for NACL in the mid game. As now, once again, via another aggressive play onto the bot lane, they will get the dredge line. The Monsoon will do absolutely nothing. The depth charge is flashed away from by Frostmoth, but he's still completely isolated versus the 4 members of NACL. That's just going to be another kill. PCS are just left trying to respond to these plays, but they come in, the response comes in too late. And despite what happened just a few minutes ago, NACL, they are still, they still know what to do. They play towards this really, really strong bot lane that just continues to ramp up. MDib is about to hit 2 items on the Sivir. Sivir with Kraken Slayer and Navori Quickblades, that is going to be one scary marksman. Well, we're going for even more picks here. The Glacial Prison whiffs. Cargilly flashes away, but the EQ will follow him, but Jarvan gets another pick to his name. It's a 4v3 right now. PCS do not want this fight. Bedamu has to run away with his Arctic Assault, but he's going to be another casualty on the list. But Jarvan is clearly a very strong champion, as Momo Deviluk is now demonstrating. NACL even getting those picks outside of the neutral objective timings. They are really putting a stranglehold on PCS right now. And the only area where PCS has any kind of control is the top lane.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed. Red team's turret has been destroyed.
The bot lane of NACL doing such a good job this game. The Vigar from MDib last game was also quite impressive, but now that they switched up the draft, it looks even better. Momo Deviluk also looks to be much more comfortable now that he has teammates to back up his aggressive plays, like Bees and Bays in the jungle. Much more effective when you have your fellow support. It's still 17 minutes into this game and we already have a very big gold lead from Homo Salis. Oh, Frostmoth almost getting caught out by that light binding. That was a very cheeky placement from Shield Twink that was almost going to work. Just centimeters there, but now Cargilly getting caught out by the combo, and the heal is what separates him from being alive and the gray screen. It's still NACL putting down pressure. They are going to actually get the Rift Herald while all this is happening. So NACL actually, are they going to get 2 objectives at once from this sequence? That would be truly something. PCS right now, they don't have the push mid. They don't have the shove top. Not really getting a lot of resources. Now Arenz is pinging to put some pressure down mid, but it feels like it's too little too late, as NACL will be able to intercept. And Arenz, oh, he's already out of position. Depth charge. Flash for flash right now. But trading the support, trading your support's flash for the enemy ADC's flash is always a trade that you should be willing to make. It's a net positive for NACL. As they do get both neutral objectives and they continue to harass pieces of hate every step of the way. So there's still a top lane tower that remains standing for PCS. And I wonder if NACL will do something about that anytime soon. I feel like that's one bit of standing gold that is still very much available and also easy to take, relatively. Now Momo Deviluk, he's going to take that Hex Deck Gate to try and look for opportunity onto Betamu, but there was no real follow-up from the rest of his team, so not going to go for it this time. NACL showing some restraint when it comes to the opportunities they choose to go for. The event horizon from Frostmoth is a nice deterrent, but I don't think it can really stop NACL from just eventually pulling the trigger on this Baron. Right now, they will still get the top lane pushing before they choose to go for anything. It's quite awkward having Darius like this in the mid lane, sharing XP with his teammates. ECS grouping extremely hard. Now Betamu behind enemy lines right now as Yuna goes onto the Malphite. Unstoppable force away from the cage. That's one big cooldown that NACL don't have. A bit of an awkward situation. Top lane turret remains standing. Oh, nice pullback from Yuna. Stopwatch from Momo Deviluk. Can they get the Jarvan? Do they have enough damage? Nice flash though. Now the teleport comes down from the top laner of NACL. But he doesn't have unstoppable force yet. Yuna continues with another apprehend. It's Momo Deviluk onto Arins. The fight on two fronts. Can Arins die to the jungler? This ended actually putting out exorbitant amounts of damage on the other side. Momo Deviluk actually gets that kill. For Gore Drinker, proc heals him just enough, but Jarvan is so huge and the light binding catches two to close out this fight. What a team fight from NACL. They get all that they could have hoped for. Maybe aside from the Baron, but I guess that can always come later. Yeah, but you can see in team fights like this, when everyone's clumped up, you can see just how much value a Sivir can have. The Sivir that's ahead of the curve. 2 items completed already. Nicely positioned when it comes to XP as well. Now Yuna chasing, but he doesn't have summoners anymore. Momo Deviluk actually going in. Not sure what that's about. He's going to lose his life. And that's a shutdown from Arins. And you have to wonder if PCS are able to do Baron. Well, it is a bit awkward for an ACL. MDiv is recalling right now. It is also recall from support as well, so NACL, they will be late to this one. Can they even... Well, now they turn away from the Baron, they stop hitting it. This does give some time to NACL. The initiation now comes in. Betamu onto the backline, but don't quite get the kills. Now the first reset from Yuna. So it's only 1 kill for PCS. The Baron is stopped, however. So it's not a tragedy for NACL, but it could have been. That could have turned very sour for the team. But now it's Hextech Drake time, and it is NACL with the tempo on the map. Rin's only now coming out of base. Oh, another nice combo from Shield Twink. Now Momo Deviluke going on his own once again. Immediately bursted down by the team. What in the world? Now a major frontliner dead for NACL as Dragon is about to come up. NACL, will they stand their ground? Will they go for the initiation? Sleepy Twink is here. Unstoppable Force almost ready. They're almost ready to take this fight. Yuna low on resources. I feel like they have to try and go for this, but they also have to be wary of the cage that's about to come in. The Hextech Gate! Sleepy Twink onto the backline, but nothing happens. NACL do not go for the play. Now Sleepy Twink has to waddle away towards his teammates, but can he even do so, is the question. Can he cover enough distance? Bedamu has Glacial Prison, and he is going to use it to lock down the Malphite. The Unstoppable Force will follow, so no major consequences from that play, but we're seeing NACL falter a bit with these engages that are not quite coordinated once again, and PCS with a Vigar, I mean, when everyone is hitting one target, there's, like, no matter how behind you are, they will fall eventually. So PCS 8k down, but still, they're still in it. Somewhat. The next objective is just going to be this mid lane tower. Judgy Rocks. That flash is forced away from the support, but now can they get the engage? Momo Deviluke on the flank. Flash forced away from by Arins. Not a bad choice to go for that spot. Unstoppable Force now only coming off cooldown. Perhaps NACL could have gone for more if they had that ultimate available at the right time. Now it's NACL. Trying to take advantage of their tempo. They're moving towards Baron now, but they don't have quite complete vision of their opponents, but I guess that is enough. Since PCS are not really willing to contest, just taking the recalls, going towards their lanes, and ACL just get that for free. And I feel like I did expect at least some resistance coming in from PCS on that play, but I guess they feel like they can weather the storm, even with this Baron buff. We'll see if that is going to be the case. Now we see a 4-1 setup. Whole team pushing it down bot lane. It's only Heal Twink maintaining the push in mid. Can they get this tower down without getting engaged on? Lux and Nautilus still pushing in mid. BCS caught between 2 points on the map. Not really sure where to respond, but it's Momo Deviluke and Sleepy Twink finally with a big engage. But it's only Janna that dies. Arins is still hitting the members of the front line, but not really doing much damage, all things considered. But now the cage is massive from Frostmoth. Catches free. But now the counter engage. Nice final spark from Shield Twink is going to catch out one member of PCS, and then more members should follow. But Yuna, oh, he puts the Noxian Guillotine onto Judgy Rocks, which means he doesn't get the reset. And that's everyone down for PCS. NACL. It took them a while to find the engage they were looking for, but they get it at just the right time when they had the Baron. And that is such a big turnaround for this team. From losing out in the early game completely, they decided, you know what? We take blue side, we take the Jarvan, and we're going to do the exact thing that you did to us in game 1, and now we're all level. And then the Malphite once again comes in, this time versus the Gangplank. So PCS specking a lot more for team fights with these champions, but they also have ways to play at range with the GP.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
As we go into the game, and this time we're going to see a 5-point defense from both sides.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I can understand it from the point of NACL. They definitely don't want to be running into the Nico and the Galio, but now... Okay, Momo Deviluk will just take some damage. We'll take the recall. Betamu didn't feel like it was worth it to start with Arctic Assault.
Minions have spawned.
We're going to see Momo Deviluk start bot lane this time around. I wonder what changed. Is it just the Gangplank who he feels like it's an easier target? A gank, perhaps? We'll have to see. He's running the Hail of Blades rune, which I don't know if he was running last time around. I don't know if chat is, chat's memory's working. Oh, what am I saying? He wasn't even playing Vi, so this is the first time he's picking Vi, so naturally... Yeah, but I guess normally you see a lot more Hail of Blade... scratch that. Conqueror. We see Vi in the higher levels of play. This time it's going to be Hail of Blades, which... I don't know what it means, but it could mean a more damage-heavy build from Momo Deviluk on this Vi. Maybe even something like an Eclipse. Now it's just standard clears for both junglers. Wave's not really in the best spot to gank. Maybe after Momo Deviluk takes his red buff, but now Yuna is going to get that ward in the tri-bush and probably remain safe for the next few minutes as he's trying to crash his wave in. Sleepy Twink will try to make that as hard as possible for him right here. Momo Deviluk uses the Squire's Bloom. He's going to spot that ward and get rid of it. And Yona gets a crash, so there's nothing of consequence there in top lane. Because we now have some internet issues for a member of PCS, so we're going to have a quick pause to get that resolved, hopefully. Not as much action happening right now since Vi's ganks are not as good as Jarvan's ganks pre-6, but once these champions hit level 6, especially on NACL's side, we should start to see the action pick up considerably. Vi's cease and desist, Nautilus depth charge, Malphite unstoppable force, like there is setup on both sides of the map for Momo Deviluk, so opportunities will be there Sure. Rin's running Lethal Tempo,
A summoner has disconnected.
as well as Ghost and Flash. The longsword start leads me to believe it will just be an Immortal Shieldbow game, which I don't hate. I think it's reasonable in this game. You want to try and increase survivability for yourself. There's not really much to do about the cease and desist engage or the unstoppable force engage if you don't have your flash. So that shield bow could come in handy. I feel like Yuna did fine last game, just didn't quite have the support of his team to take the lead further forward. But this time he could have a harder time, honestly, getting this Malphite to recall. Now he's out of mana, but not having that much trouble against the parlay harass. Now we see some big trading in the mid lane as well. This dragon will come up very soon, as Regirox wants to make another visit in the mid lane. But right now the wave is not quite there to try and get something done. Would require a cheeky flash from Nautilus to decide to get a hook. But I feel like they're making it quite obvious that something's going on, and now they see him on vision. Regirox has to dredge line away. The Sleepy Twink has not taken a recall just yet, which is a bit awkward. Probably look to do so in the near future, but now Regirox and Regirox and MDib will resist the engage. And Momo looks straight onto the dragon. Oh! Big hit from Marins. That cleanse from Shield Twink perhaps not really necessary because there was not enough for the lethal anyway. So once again, that summoner spell used in vain a little bit. But we will still be advantage NACL because of the first dragon.
Red team has slain the dragon.
Malphite takes the recall and he goes for the plated steel caps. With the additional movement speed, should be easier for him to move around and evade some of that barrel damage. Oh, goes for the all-in and the unstoppable force. Remove Scurvy, I think, saved Yuna's life right there. Sleepy Twink, surprising a little bit with the choice that he made right there. Just goes for the all-in as soon as he hits 6, I suppose, but yeah. Not something we saw last game because Darius is naturally a lot tankier compared to the Gangplank. Gangplank not as sturdy as he used to be in the early game. I wonder if there was an angle for a solo kill there if Malphite had Dorn's Ring instead of Shield, but Yes, this is not the time to make calculations. As Arens pops his ghost, he tries to kite around the CC, but he's going to get caught by Judgy Rocks. But now Judgy Rocks is in trouble because Betamu is there to counter gank. PCS doing the right thing this time, making sure that Varus has the support he needs when he's pushing in like this. So the mid lane in a much better spot for PCS. A lot more controlled game, which is going to the benefit of PCS. Oh, yeah, I feel like if Momo Devlu goes for that Vault Breaker, it could have been a sticky situation for him. Decides against it. Now Judgy Rocks with half his health lost already. He's not that much of a threat for the enemy bot lane. Let's see what the Malphite is maxing. Of course, did put points in queue. Now he's just decided he wants to put even more points in queue. Maximize the harass. Instead of putting some points in W, just goes for the max nuke build with the Q. Forces out the recall from Yuna. He's going to lose some minions, but it's not that big of a deal since he gets that early Essence Reaver. Frostmoth with a nice root onto Judgy Rocks, but no lethal. Oh, what a flash from Marins! Is that a kill? Yes, it is. What a preemptive flash from Marins to take that kill. To get first blood in this game. We had a quiet early game, but now Marins kicks it into second gear. And PCS are looking to take this series for themselves. Arens doesn't want to leave it down to chance, but now Momo Deviluk with a flash of his own. He knows that Arens doesn't have summoners, and that is a quick kill for the jungler. Punished pretty much immediately, and now PCS, we just about get this Rift Herald, but they do not have their mid laner here. They will just lose out on this skirmish. They have to try and get away. Betamu flashes away, so does Yuna. A lot that was sacrificed just to get that Rift Herald, but now Momo Deviluk, he has free reign in the Sejuani's jungle. As NACL also get the push in the mid lane. Oh, but Momo Deviluk, he does not have the support of his team. Velux was not there to support. Malphite was pushing minions down top. This invade, if you want to invade like this, you have to coordinate it better, but his teammates were just not there to support him at all. Now we see a 1v1 in the top lane. Yuna once again falling down dangerously low. But now Malphite does not have the unstoppable force to threaten him again. With another Q straight to the face. Arcane Comet removes Scurvy! Oh, you could see how low Yuna was. The health bar was... That was a hair's breadth for the health bar right there. Had to be in the single digits. Survived somehow. Absolutely ridiculous, but now NACL are trying for an engage, but they get baited a little bit. That was a Nico clone, in fact, so Frostmoth pulling a sneaky on him. But now Betamu, he's going to get caught out by the Light Binding as well as the additional CC, but now PCS doing a lot of damage in response, and it's actually Momo Deviluk that falls first. It's a 1-for-0 right now. Very nice combo from Shield Twink. Some low health bars on the side of PCS as well, so it's a bit of an awkward situation, but they decide to go mid with the Herald that they took not too long ago. So with the plate still up, it should be a very nice position for PCS. We should be taking those plates down. They also have vision control of a dragon, so doing plenty of things at once. Oh, but as I say that, Arens gets picked off by multiple members of NACL. Now is the bot lane of Homo Salis in trouble. MDib trying to put down the damage. Momo Devluke is there for the follow-up. So is the mid laner, and now PCS potentially in a world of hurt. Momo Devluke does not have the cease and desist, but the skill shots from Shield Twink are on point, and those are just two easy picks for NACL. As the dragon remains untaken, NACL will just move towards it now. Once again, Sleepy Twink trying to threaten lethal, but just not quite enough in the tank. Yeah, Sleepy Twink maxing E second. Oh, Arin's once again caught out by the depth charge, followed up by the Lux damage. The Dredgeline connects once again. The Glacial Prism from Sejuani was good. And it's a 1-for-0 for PCS. They actually protect their mid laner this time, but it was a dicey spot for the team. Well, with Devluke once again going on the clone. Getting some vision control down. They should be fairly happy with the state of affairs right now. They got the two dragons. Mid laner is in good position, so is the bot laner. The two main carries of the team are scaling up nicely. But on the other side we have Gangplank. Ever the menace. Always so threatening to play against. Scaling is off the charts on this champion. The first strike, he just means he gets to those items faster and faster. Oh, the Chain of Corruption was not quite there for Rins. Dredgeline lands onto Yuna. They want to go for this fight. Bedamu nicely body blocking. Positioning very well. Probably prevents NACL from going further on that play, even though Momo Devluke had the cease and desist. Now Cargilly, they want to go for the counter engage, and the CC lands true. So much damage from all members of PCS. That is a shutdown, but unfortunately lands in the hands of Cargilly, but I think they will be happy with the pressure that they managed to disengage from. And now the Rift Herald, the second one in this game, will also land for PCS. Looking at this rune charts, I was low-key expecting something more aggressive than Sunderer, but I guess he just wanted to make sure that he remains effective in the game. But now, he's not very effective when he's looking at a gray screen. But what a combo from Shield Twink on the other side. Do they have enough damage to at least secure one kill? Frostmoth is burning down, but he's going to stay alive from the looks of things. Yuna now in a very bad spot, actually. Flash from MDib just to secure that kill. It's going to be a 1-for-1 for now. Rin's zoned out by the abilities of Lux, but it won't prevent PCS from securing another kill. Slowly but surely, PCS are finding the right fights in this game. Now for NACL, it should all be about getting getting mid control back. And then landing some vision. They still have the cease and desist. They should look for something while PCS are still looking to set up on this objective. No cease and desist onto Frostmoth. But they do get river control and now they're setting up vision. They will be first on this objective while PCS is still a bit split. Betamu is still coming away from the base. Paragilly in a bad spot. Arins has to flash away. Momo Deviluke taunted by all the by just Galio himself. They're finally going onto Viveris and they will burn him down. The shield bow blocked some damage, but it's not enough to handle 3 or 4 members of NACL there. They just layer everything on Viveris. PCS late with the setup. Now Pop Blossom comes in from Frostmoth, but it's way too late. Onto one member of NACL, there was no follow-up to be had. And a very costly slip-up right now for PCS. They will lose the third dragon. So now it's all about the fourth. As Cloud Drake will be the dragon that NACL take here. The Cloud Soul will follow. Perhaps not the best soul. But it still makes your champions more effective nonetheless. And it will force PCS to respond. Now, once again, they're pushing down mid. They will take this mid thread down, finally. After plenty of struggles. Still a very small gold lead for Pieces of Hate, but you can feel that NACL are starting to find their groove in this game. And it's once again Mdib on the Sivir, who's about to hit that first major spike of Navori Quickblades. He can maintain high DPS, perhaps block some crucial ability with the spell shield like the Barrel Chain or even the Chain of Corruption from Viveris. He can once again be the difference maker. Is definitely the most even game we had so far, and it's so fitting that it's the third game to conclude this series. Now Baron is the focus for both teams. And ACL, don't think they are aware that they're stepping on vision. Now they will move down mid. Will they be looking for his individual picks right here? Both teams contesting this mid push quite strongly, but no one's pulling the trigger just yet. It's just PCS walking around, pushing in, and then an ACL pushing back. But maybe now we will see an opening as the cease and desist comes in, followed by the final spark. But Shield Bow will block a lot of that damage. But Judging Rocks comes in with the depth charge. They really want to see this Irin's Varus dead, but it will not come to pass. But instead, maybe they can get Betamu. He has to flash as well. NACL, they want to get these 2 kills so bad. Sleepy Twink! He's looking for it. He doesn't have the flash though, so I guess he can't cover enough distance, but maybe Flash Unstoppable Force could have been nail in the coffin. was so close for NACL right there. Could have been the engagement decides it all. Followed by the Baron takedown. But PCS just barely managed to get away from that very dangerous spot. PCS trying to maintain river control, but it's still very early. It's not even a minute until this dragon. Arens just gets brought down where he stands. Without his shield bow, he cannot protect himself from all the burst that follows. And now with the mid laner down, NACL gets some standing gold on the map. And they're also trying to make sure that PCS does not sneak Baron in the meantime. Now Badamu has to be very careful. You don't want to lose your life when your mid laner is already dead. I feel like in that spot, NACL just definitely pull the trigger on the Baron. Right now, it continues to be a standstill. Only 20 seconds until the dragon spawns. Varus is already up. But it's NACL still with the better positioning. Oh, now it could have been a very bad spot for Momo Deviluk. Not sure why PCS didn't go harder on that play. Vi is still alive as we approach this objective. Now we're going to see the most important fight. Shield Twin gets away, but Arins gets bursted down again! The engage from NACL is perfect! And now the combo from the wall onto the backline of PCS. They will all just fall, all of them, one after another. The Sivir, once again, proving to be the lawnmower that she is in the mid to late game. And NACL, they might just do it. The 7-0 Sivir, completely ignored by PCS. It has to be said, they went for the Lux, but the Sivir on the other side of the fight was just putting in auto after auto, and once again, it all adds up when the team fights are this close. Everyone's this packed. That's exactly a spot where Sivir shines, and we see it happening. We're seeing it happening once again. Another crucial fight where NACL just turns it with the help of the Sivir, and now she's going to be even stronger. It's going to be even harder for PCS to win these fights. They have to take down the Sivir first. It is absolutely mandatory if they want to hope for a series win right here. "26 minutes in, NACL with a gold lead now. Baron's still standing. It still all feels very awkward, but it feels like NACL just have to keep going. I feel like they have what it takes to just keep going with these engages. Judgy rocks with a dredge line onto Yuna, but now they have the engage number 2 works just fine, and they will take down the pirate, or will they? They actually protect him, but now the unstoppable force onto the backline. Varus completely zoned out, which means Sivir is once again cutting everyone down to size. And it's completely... PCS completely aced. It's just Momo Deviluk that goes down. NACL decide that this was not the final push. They could not have possibly gone all the way to the Nexus. They will just take the free Baron, but with that, it really feels like NACL have done it. The bot lane difference is staggering. The Nico and the Galio just can't possibly contribute in the same way that one lone Sivir can. The Nico just feels like a complete outsider in this game, just a passerby. Darius getting focused down fight after fight. There's not enough peel to make him stay alive. The one win condition that they're hoping for is consistently being brought down, as now Cargilly will get picked off once again. Nice barrels though from Yuna. That's a lot of damage in response, but now the unstoppable force onto 3. They could get at least one kill from this spot. They will take down Yuna, and now Momo Devil with a cease and desist. The combo follows, and once again, such good picks from NACL. Walking down mid, another CC lands. Momo Deviluk going in once again. It's Judgy who's actually tanking the turret, which means Momo Deviluk can just keep going. They will take that trade. They will sacrifice the support's life gladly if it means they can get the push and end this game. It's only Frostmoth that's defending, and he's going to fall just from the Lucent Singularity alone. It's just Cargilly defending. He has to stop the Sivir from auto-attacking. He's going in. If a spell shield is going to block it all, it's completely ineffective. And NACL, Homo Salis, take down the #1 seed. PCS have chosen wrong, as it looks like.